Living room conversation.
If you're live in a room, isn't it a living room?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Living Room Conversations. I'm Joshua Fields Milburn.
And I'm Ryan Nicodemus, and together we are the Minimalists.
Welcome back. We are in my home, sort of living room adjacent here.
Yeah.
For Living Room Conversations, and we're answering your questions. You can leave your questions in the comments below. We'll get to them on a future video here. But today's question, Ryan, is from Santana. What do the minimalists think about home ownership? Ryan, the thing is, you and I have both in the past owned homes, although we didn't actually own them, did we?
No, man. I bought a condo, and it was a nice big, condo. But it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had with a mortgage, and then trying to, work really hard to pay all those bills that came along with the condo, the mortgage, the electricity. When you had my electric bill, because my place was so big, it was like $500 a month sometimes. I mean, it was unbelievable, especially during the winter in Ohio.
Yeah, I remember you had these huge 12 or 20 foot ceiling. I mean, these obscene
spiral
ceilings.
Staircase.
You did have a spiral staircase.
No, it was a pain in the butt because of that, but also when I went to sell it, I actually lost a ton of money on that place. And I'm a little gun shy when it comes to buying another home.
Yeah.
But you could replace home ownership with any ownership, really, with this question, because ownership isn't the problem. The problem is sometimes we go out of our way to own something that we really can't afford.
And sometimes we don't even want the thing that we think we want.
Yeah.
You thought you wanted this condo, this 3-bedroom, 2-3 bath. You had a garage and 2 living rooms. It was just you and your cat. You thought you wanted this thing because, well, if you got it, then what? You might be happy. You might be more content. You might be more complete. But then when you get that thing, the very thing that you desired now becomes the thing that is making you discontented in a way because of those higher bills, the mortgage, the electricity, the fridge goes out, the oven stops working, the burner's not working, the garage door breaks, whatever it might be.
Yeah. And
there are all of these triggers for discontent. That's part of home ownership. And I think you need to be prepared for that. There's nothing wrong with owning a home, I don't think. I think most of the time, though, we don't own a home. Now, for me personally, I don't do any debt. I'm debt-free, thankfully. It took for a very long time to get out of debt, and I don't want to go back into debt. If there were ever going to be, I have 2 potential exceptions for that. One is a true medical emergency that is not covered by my emergency fund. Now, I have an emergency fund, so I should be covered for any medical emergency because I have health insurance and I have an emergency fund. So I should be covered in case of an emergency, right? So I don't even have to worry about that. The only other time I would even consider going into debt would be to have a mortgage. And personally, I would never have more than a 15-year fixed rate mortgage. And I would always want to put, for me personally, at least 50% down in order to be able to do that.
Right.
And I would also try to pay that mortgage off in a much shorter time frame than 15 years.
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Because there's no such thing as good debt. Even owning a house, you want to pay that off so you don't have the burden, the psychological weight. And also, you want the psychological freedom of knowing, I own this home. In fact, I own a home back in Dayton, Ohio now. The apartment that Bex and Ella and I are in here, we rent here in Los Angeles because housing prices are very expensive. I couldn't afford to pay cash for a house. But we're from Dayton, Ohio, and I own a home there, and it's a rental property, but I own it outright. I don't have a mortgage on it, and it's because I personally don't want to have debt, but I also wanted to diversify my finances, my investments. And you can own a house in a place like Dayton, which is the second most affordable city in the country, for my house costs about the same price as a parking spot in Los Angeles, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty affordable over there. So, I guess when it comes to home ownership specifically, the question is are you doing it intentionally? Are you doing it in a way that you can afford it? Does it fit with your lifestyle? But there are some really bad decisions that can be made with mortgages. They're doing up to a 40-year mortgage these days.
It's unbelievable. And for the longest time, there were only 2 countries that were doing even a 30-year mortgage. A lot of countries thought that was just insane. I would never want to do a 30. I mean, think about, what am I going to be doing 30 years from now? I'm 38, so I'll be almost 70 30 years from now. I can't imagine getting into a mortgage situation, any situation where I'm going to have to pay on something every single month until I'm 70 years old without fail. And by the way, if I miss a couple payments because of unfortunate financial circumstances, then I lose everything.
Yeah.
And everything I thought that I was building up. And so sometimes a home can be an investment. I don't think of it as an investment, though. I think unless it is a rental property. Because your home, whether you're renting or you're buying, there are always going to be the expenses that are associated with it.
Yeah.
And there are pros and cons for owning a home. There's a pro for also renting. Renting is also paying for the ability to be mobile, to be able to leave when you want.
Yeah. I mean, living debt-free is, I feel like that's the new American dream. I mean, it used to be the house with the picket fence, but to get all that, to get that these days, you have to go into a lot of debt. But now, I mean, the rug could be swept out from underneath of us, and I might have to go get a job as a barista, but I have no stress of the income that we have. I mean, money's important. I'm not trying to undermine that, but I don't rely on money to keep my life going because when you have a mortgage, all of a sudden now you've got that pressure. You got to make that payment every single month, no matter what your job situation is, no matter what your financial situation is. And I guarantee your and I's financial situation is going to change over the years. So to buy something that you are pretty much, trying to guarantee yourself that your financial situation is going to stay the same for 30 years. I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
Well, even
15 years is a lot of pressure.
I totally agree with you. That's why I said even if you do a 15-year mortgage, try to pay that off as soon as possible. Get out of debt so you can have that freedom of being debt-free. Now, when last thing here is I built my first house at age 22, $0 down, 30-year mortgage. And the problem with that was also that I didn't say, what can I afford, right? And I didn't even say, what do I need? I went to the bank and the home builder, and they said, how much money do you make?
Yeah.
And we're going to basically back into that number. And so we're going to build you this monstrosity of a house in the suburbs, thinking like, well, yeah, I can afford it. As long as if I adjust this a little bit, and we'll eat out fewer times per month, and we'll find a way to pay for this mortgage payment. But I didn't ask myself, well, do I need this? Do I need the living room and the entertainment room? It was just me and my former spouse. Do I need 3 bedrooms? Do I need a 2.5 car garage? Do I need a full basement? Do I need all of these walk-in closets?
Yeah.
Do I need this? Maybe it's better to, instead of finding the biggest, best house that I can afford the payment for, which we know I can't actually afford it if I can just afford the payment, but instead of looking for that house, maybe I should find a house that is appropriate for my lifestyle, or if I'm going to build a house around the life instead of trying to cram my life into someone's ideal vision for a house or for their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, y'all. If you have more questions for Living Room Conversations, leave them in the comments below. Also, Ryan and I are getting ready to go on tour. We're coming to a city near you with a live version of the Minimalist podcast. You can find all the details and find the city closest to you at theminimalists.com/tour. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
The Minimalists.